More reaction and insight. We now welcome to studio Dan Perry, international affairs analyst and former Europe editor at the Associated Press. Dan, thank you so much for being here in studio. A big moment in the world of politics. Is it exactly what you thought it would be on this day? What is your take on exactly what we are seeing in Jerusalem and in Tel Aviv at this juncture?
Israel's on the verge of probably a constitutional crisis. Look, there are two kinds of democracies, maybe even more than two. Israel has hitherto been a liberal democracy, where the government is checked in its powers. The current government of Netanyahu wishes to turn it into an illiberal democracy, where the government is minimally checked, if at all, in its powers. Now, that is pretty much the most vulgar thing a government can do, to seize more power for itself, and it has put the Supreme Court in a similar position. The court will be in a highly undignified position of probably ruling to strike down the measure that limits its own power. Vulgarity is infectious, and I don't know where it's going to go, but it could very well be a crisis, because I would imagine this government, if it continues along the current path, to try to ignore the court, circumvent it somehow, and then it'll be largely a question of whether other courts, the police, the Shin Bet, the Mossad, and even the military choose to listen to the judiciary or to the executive.
There has been a lot made of the reaction, obviously, here in terms of the protest movement, and a lot made of the objections and the criticism from abroad. The White House saying just a short while ago they urge Israeli leaders to work towards a consensus-based approach through political dialogue. You're already smiling. Talk to us about the impact of all these developments on relations between Israel and the US right now.
The special relationship has been based on the idea of not just interest, but shared values. The current government does not share values with the Democrats in the U.S., with the Biden administration, with the Jewish community by and large, and with probably most Americans. It's clear that it might undermine that special relationship, which could carry a very severe security cost for Israel, severe economic cost, affect Israelis of all political stripes in various ways. Today's statement from the White House is fairly anodyne, frankly. I mean, they're expressing displeasure. If the White House had really wanted to step in, and generally they don't, they would have taken stronger action.
Dan, stay with us. We've got more to unpack, but right now I want to go live to Gilad Katz, former political advisor to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Consul General of Israel to the Southwest USA. He joins us from Metzpeh Ilan. Thank you so much for your time. Your response: all 64 members of the coalition voting in favor of the reasonableness bill. Are you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. I think for the past few weeks, everyone understood that the government has got to, it's what I call the Armageddon day, meaning it's for them, it's a survival issue. And that is the reason that all 64 members of the coalition voted for the bill. What we have to now find is a sort of an understanding between the two sides, I would say, the opposition and the coalition, and only by reaching out, then we can somehow ease the tension.
Gilad, I'm going to stop you there because I want to bring Dan Perry in for his response to exactly what you are saying right now.
Look, you never go out of business calling on people to talk and be nice to each other, but we have here a genuine conflict between two different visions for Israel. And you might present what happened today as a victory for one of them. I think it's a Pyrrhic victory. They're going to pay a very high price. The opposition to what they're seeking to do, which goes way beyond the reasonable bill to include other measures like the override bill and judicial appointments, is very, very strong. And I think, not at all starry-eyed about the difficult times that Israel is going to face. And keep in mind that the opposition to this bill includes the overwhelming majority of the security establishment, the business community, the academic community, and I have to estimate that the people opposing what's going on account for maybe 80% of Israel's GDP. It could be a very, very big fight.
The question is, do we want to fight, keep on fighting? Then we can keep on fighting. That's fine. I'm with the coalition, my friend is with the opposition, we'll keep on fighting, we'll all lose. The question is, what can we do to ease the tension? And as I said, no victory for no side is the best opportunity now. It's not, no one likes it, but that's where we stand. There are 64 mandates for the coalition. That's a vast majority. One has to understand that this is what the Israeli people voted just
Gilad, I'm going to have to
8
stop you
months
there.
ago.
I have to dispute this. I mean, it's not tolerable to keep hearing this claim. And I understand we don't have time, but I would like to respond at some point.
Very briefly, your response, briefly.
Well, this coalition got 49% of the vote in the last election. They have a legal 64 seats. They did not have a big mandate. Likud did not have a platform. Netanyahu made no mention of these things, and 70% of the public opposes it. I'm sorry, it's just true.
Perry, Gilad Katz,
No, you can't keep saying 64 seats.
We'd love to unpack this even further, but right now we need to go.